Call the meeting to order. Pledge allegiance.
Who's pro tem?
Mr. Butler.
Okay, we're doing it.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Wrong one. Bartholomew,
Here.
Edwards,
Here.
Fowler,
Yes.
Kerr is absent, Parker,
Present.
Rousseau, here. President Poznanski is absent. We have 5 present.
Any additions, approval to the agenda? I have one. On the budget workshop amendment, I'd like to make that under a review of the total budget for H. Yeah. It'd be this one, Matt.
Yeah.
Okay. Just to,
Review.
things go over into it.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve special meeting budget meeting for June 10th as revised.
Second.
All in favor?
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Public comments? You're just ready.
I'm just ready.
Okay. Unfinished business first, the cemetery fund, 209.
Yep. So, we've gotten some new information regarding the cemetery fund, of course, right after we had our meeting and all discussed. So, the engineer has come back and said that the cemetery fund can be extended into the retention pond area.
Say that again? I'm sorry.
The cemetery could be extended into the retention pond area. They were waiting on that study, and it literally came back, it sounds like, the day of or the day after our meeting. So we also have our new updated numbers for fund balance. We originally thought it was going to be 350,000. It's actually be 235,000 remaining at the end of this fiscal year. So we still have time. So we just wanted to bring the discussion up to you guys. Do we still want to levy the .37 mills to break even, knowing this information, or do we want to up the millage rate? We still have time to change it. That's the only reason why we're bringing it to your attention now that we have
So
new
there's
information.
potential, and I guess cemetery board's not here
Yeah.
for sure, but there's a potential to fill in the retention pond.
Mm-hmm.
That, my understanding, it wasn't a for sure, it was a potential that it could be likely that we could.
Mm-hmm.
Until, I guess in my mind, until we have a defined project or plan in place, let's leave it as is. If we're only
Okay.
left with 250, it's still
Give the
250,000
money back to the
to
taxpayer.
do something. We're not gonna charge people for something we may or may not do, would be my thought. Leave it as is, and if we need to adjust next year,
Yep.
adjust next year as
I
a,
agree
what's
with
needed.
that.
What do you think, Bart?
I agree with that.
Okay.
Matt?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
We're done with that.
Awesome. That was it. Just wanted to give you guys that
Thank you.
information.
Thank you.
That was all.
Thank you.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, new business. You're staying there, right?
Yep. I'm staying here.
We'll start with
I need this covered.
public improvements.
Okay. Well, actually, it looks like cable fund is first. Is that okay?
Sure.
On the list? Okay.
Oh,
You got the floor.
235.
Okay. So these are the remaining funds that we have to discuss as part of the 2025 budget. First fund that we have to discuss today is the cable fund, Fund 235. Revenue comes in from this, for this fund from both franchise and PEG fees received from the cable companies that operate in the village. And then the only expenditure we have in that fund right now is for cable services with Mitt TV. And those in the contract, we're limited to paying them 95% of the franchise fees received. That's how the contract is laid out for the expenses. So this is what it looks like. We're looking at about $275,000 in fund balance left in that fund. Now, and we don't have any capital planned in that fund. For your information, like you can use it for anything related to like cable or broadcasting your meetings. So you could use it for doing something in this room, buy new cameras, that kind of thing. Just keep, that's what that money can be used for.
Peach Festival advertisement?
No.
I don't think so. I think it has to do only with village business, because the village is collecting the money.
So it's restricted to use for broadcasting.
Yes, anything to do with broadcasting your meetings. Any meeting in the village, it could be cemetery board, could be tree board, you guys.
Can we clarify that? Because I thought Mark had said in the past that fund could be kind of used for almost anything.
Oh, no, my understanding, it has to only do with broadcasting the government's business. So like if you wanted to buy new, like tables and chairs in this room, because you broadcast from here, you could. If you wanted to buy the projector, you could. New cameras, new seats, you could.
New village
Anything.
vehicle to transport people to the
Yes,
meeting.
honestly, yes, you
Yeah.
could.
Oh,
I mean, if you
so-
could, if you wanted to, I mean, that'd be a
Basically-
funny use of it, but
Get
you
creative.
could.
Yeah.
Anything to do with broadcasting the village's business.
So by broadcasting on a police car, here is the link to watch the meeting.
I could look
and
into that.
work out.
As long as our logo's on the side, that might work.
Maybe. I'd have to look into very fine details, but that's my understanding. Most municipalities I see use it to, like I said,
Yeah.
buy new desks, new chairs, new cameras, projector, what have you. Anything to do with broadcasting. Or the room itself.
So we're at 243 currently. We'll end next year at 275.
Right. Because our contract is limited to Mitt TV, we can only pay so much per the contract. So we're just accumulating money in that fund.
Good?
Anything?
Everybody good?
Yeah, we paid mid-TV out of this?
Yes, yes. Their
Okay.
entire payment comes out of this fund.
95%.
95% of the revenue that's franchise fee revenues received specifically. There's franchise and PEG.
Franchise and PEG?
Only franchise,
Only franchise.
Which one are you going to next?
public improvement.
Okay, we're back on
So,
A.
let me
Oh,
just,
do we have
I'm
more
sorry.
if the
questions?
franchise fee is only 57 total, right, between Comcast,
see.
DirecTV, if they can only be paid 95% of 57, how is it 66? Is that the correct number?
Well, because we have the true up in a different line item.
So we have a true up in there on a different line item. So at the end of the year, we have to true up our costs with them. So it's a contingency within that.
So we pay them more and then,
You pay them a certain amount each month per the contract, and that's what's in the budget for the expense.
okay,
But then at the end of the year, we have to wait and see how much of the franchise fees we received. And then we do the calculation for 95%, and then they, like last year, they owed us money back. So that's another line item in the revenue item. So we have to show the complete 100% of the expense as capital outlay, but then what they pay us back is a reimbursement.
so the franchise fee, this number is not set, this varies then?
Yes,
by the
yeah,
end
it
of the year?
varies,
Right.
yes. It's hard to predict.
Okay.
We get quarterly payments and it's however Comcast and I think the other company that's in the village calculates it. And it has been trending downwards in most municipalities because people are cutting the cord.
Okay, I get, so the contract says we pay X amount. I get it.
Yeah,
Okay.
pay X amount a month and then we true it up at the end.
Okay, makes sense, thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Now we're on A.
Yep, public
improvements?
improvement. So here's what's in public improvement. We currently don't have any capital identified for this fund. There is, looks like to be $100,000 projected to be available at the end of 2025. This can be used for really any capital outlay.
Sidewalks?
Sure. Yep.
Good.
Is that where we were paying for sidewalks out of before?
No, we're paying for sidewalks out of the municipal street fund.
Okay, gotcha.
Everybody good?
Is this where, if I propose that we have money for sidewalks, should it be in here, or can I get to it later?
If you want money for sidewalks, what we would probably do is do a transfer from this fund to the municipal streets fund, because we pay for all the sidewalks out of the municipal streets fund. So to keep everything together, that's probably what we would do. So you would see a transfer out and then a transfer into municipal streets to drain some of that fund
So it would
balance.
go in as a separate line item into
Yes.
municipal, so we know to
So
draw.
a couple of years ago, when we did do a lot of sidewalks, we had a cost share with the residents.
Yes,
And I think if we continue to do more work on the sidewalks, we should keep that going, to keep it fair.
I
Oh,
agree.
yeah.
100% 50/50. Like it
Yeah.
had been.
I
So you can
agree.
use this,
We'd have to
You
change
can't
the
also
ordinance.
start really let
Yeah, you
people
gotta-
get-
like she said, it'd be a separate line
It
item.
just makes the
but
money
we-
go longer, go further.
So we know where to find it. Okay,
Okay.
good, very good.
Thank you.
Next,
yeah.
all right.
Wastewater fund. So we have, right now, in the budget you have, we have a 5% increase just for forecasting purposes, because the rate structure was approved at the end of May. Lots of rates went up, went down. So we'll monitor the activity and present budget amendments in '25 once we see how those rates shake out. Routine maintenance is allocated in this fund, and the capital outlay budgeted for the sewer system is $229,000, and that's related to the street improvement project, the sewer side of it, as well as a new driveway and some sewer rehab.
So where is the secretary? Oh, no, that's DPW, never mind. Okay, so billing, bookkeeping, and admin.
That's what we talked about the last meeting, so that's when we took Caroline, Rebecca, and ourselves.
Okay,
However many checks were cut, et cetera.
Yep.
That's the calculation that came out
so
there.
that's the three of you, okay.
Yeah.
When was that? Oh, that one.
Two
I see-
lines.
yeah, I see it now,
Yeah,
yep.
okay.
And then, so the professional accounting and audit, is that also,
That is your actual auditor,
okay.
Gaybridge.
Wow. Okay. How many people work in that department?
Trying to think. Yeah, there's Al. Yeah, I believe there's 5. Chris is split 50/50 between water and sewer. And I think she has some in motor pool as well, the secretary of the DPS department.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Sorry. I believe there's 5. Chris, the secretary of the DPW, she's split between water, sewer, and I believe general fund and motor pool. Yeah, her salary's split that way.
Okay. Then, under education and training, through March of this year, they spent 4,417, and they're asking for just over $500 more, up to 5,000 for this next coming year. I would like to propose to leave education and training in the budget for them. But I would like to have a discussion about reducing it from $5,000. If they had specific training or things that they needed, that's great. And then if they go over it and want to do more, I think then at that point, they can either come to council or take it out of a different item in their budget. But I think, again, back to the tightening of the belt, $5,000 is a significant amount of money. They didn't spend all that this past year. Any thoughts?
I would say too, to remember that that's funded through the water sewer rates, not through taxes.
I'm sorry, that's what?
It's funded through the water sewer rates and not through taxes. So I understand what you're saying, but reducing it a little bit is not going to have any effect on the water or sewer rate because you have, most of that's being paid by capital.
Yep. Got it.
Yeah, but you're just in the training portion, correct? That's all you're inquiring about, the $500 off of that?
I would probably just leave it at 4,400. I mean, that's pretty much what they used.
If I can
Because even
add-
that,
I'm sorry, Ms. Russo?
If I can add to that, though, in March, no, actually in February, when I had sit-downs with all the department heads, there is new stormwater requirements and stormwater reporting. So I believe that's probably part of why it went up, because there's a whole new facet to their positions now that all of them are probably going to go through, because that's why he accounted for overtime to be going up, because of the new
Yes.
reporting and everything. And this is all
Okay.
new to them.
so do we have any idea of what those training and education
I
meetings
have
are gonna
not
be?
seen their registrations yet. I usually don't see their registrations till they're 100% certain that they need to go. I don't know how often these classes are posted. Some of them are one day, or some of
Okay.
them are overnighters.
Okay,
I would say we just leave it in and encourage them to take classes. Take more training.
okay,
It's tough if it's not paid out of tax.
that's it?
Yeah, reduce it by that minimal, I mean, it's minimal, I get it, but it still all adds up. And like you're saying, it's not gonna have a big effect on, no effect. If you break that out to every person paying, what is it, 20 cents a,
Right, but
quarter.
if, look at it this way,
As
every
a
little bit
whole-
and piece makes a difference, and if that money is there for them, if something else unexpected happens,
Understandable, yeah.
then they have that money there. Because we are facing a lot of very large expenses, and I'm all for training, if
Yeah.
it's training, but if it's not necessary, and if they're just using it because it's there, you know, that money could be used some other way, but like Catherine said, something is coming. So, okay, fine, but no one knows what the training's gonna cost, so they're just kind of picking numbers. And I'm trying to be a little bit more fiscally thoughtful with everything that we're facing. So I would propose we just leave it at 4,500, and if they need more, they can, but it's gonna be a common thing among other departments that we get to. That I'm gonna bring it up there too, so to be fair and
Understandable.
consistent.
yeah.
But you're just taking a shot in the dark yourself.
No, that's what they spent.
No, I know what they spent, but if they gotta take additional classes, you're again, just taking a shot in the dark. You don't know what the new classes are gonna cost or anything, so.
Yeah, but if they can spend 4,500 in a year without new stuff,
Yeah, but they're gonna need new classes.
that's what I mean. If you spent 4,500
Right.
on things they didn't necessarily have new classes for, then are they just spending it because they have it?
If they're learning something from these classes, it's not a bad thing.
I'm not saying it is. I don't think it's bad at all. I just tend to pay attention to the details.
So if we pull, let's say $1,000 out of that fund, it can't go back into the village general fund, it has to maintain
No.
into the water or the sewer or somewhere. Where would that end up falling? Where would that go?
That would go into the net position of the sewer fund. So it would be available for capital if you pull it out.
Or if they choose to take more training that they weren't anticipating, the money's still there. It's not like we're taking the money away, it's just how it's being allocated and making sure that we're being fiscally aware of how it's allocated.
I respect what you're saying, yeah, yeah.
So the funds are still accessible? But
yes.
they might be in a different,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Just looking, I mean, I guess in comparison to that, like, you look at the uniform and laundering services across the board too, is that, do we use one company now, or is that still multiple,
Only one.
Yeah, I think it's only one.
just one company? I know we had double at one point, I think.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, now it's just one.
How often do we shop that out or bid that out, or?
I believe it expires in '26, so that would be the next time we would address that.
It just Seems,
12 grand.
yeah, across 5 people, that's roughly $50 a week. That's,
But that's per their union contract also, that it's written in the contract that we are to supply uniforms.
like, supply them, I get it, but at $50 a week, that's,
Supply them or clean them?
Supply them.
So we don't have to clean them?
Well, it's part of the, that's part of the supplying. They just take them and bring back new ones. They don't clean them and then turn around and bring back the other ones. They have a cycle through of how
yeah, well, providing,
uniforms
if
work.
it says providing, I
Yeah.
see what you're saying, providing uniforms, like, one position, yeah, I get X amount of uniforms a year. I take them home, I wash them myself.
You can buy a washer and dryer.
I think part of that is because they are working in the wastewater system, so you
They're
want those to be
cleaned a
professionally
certain way.
I
cleaned.
can respect that.
You-
And so they all come back the same color.
I know.
One of the funds, or
Yeah.
one of the, you know,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's other people that, where we have, you know, that
Yeah.
service provided
Yes.
for that it may be a little different, but I guess if you're providing for wastewater, it's justifiable, but can you then not justify it for DPW or PD? And if one's getting it, should they all get it? A watering service.
You only have one child, right? I have two. So,
Should have three, but.
so who's the contract through, Catherine?
Cintas,
Cintas, okay. And all of the departments you are under that same contract? so we
except for
have the-
police, but yes.
Okay, except for police?
Yes, I don't know where they get their uniforms from. I don't know what company that is.
I think they get an allowance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they're not.
they-
NYE,
I think it
Watering
is.
Service.
No.
They're just-
No,
yeah.
no, I think it's the vendor's NYE I saw.
So they get their own cleaned and pressed? We
They
don't do that for
personally
them?
take care of it, yeah.
Why don't we do it?
What's that?
Well, we're under contract till 26, so we can't do anything about it till then.
No, I mean, why don't we do the police ones?
Oh, that I don't know. That I do not know. As I don't think Cintas, from the catalogs I've seen, Cintas does not provide police uniforms. I think
I
that's
would-
a select area.
I would hazard to guess it's because DPW, wastewater, and water deal with chemicals. This is my guess. They deal with a lot of chemicals and other things where you'd want them to be professionally cleaned. That's my thought. I could be wrong.
I seen someone's police uniform hanging at the local cleaners when I went to pick some of mine up.
Yeah.
When my dad was a today's trooper, I think that they gave him a discount, a good discount.
Okay.
I don't know
Interesting.
about today.
All right, so next year we'll start seeing bids for the uniform?
Probably at the end of '25, yeah.
Okay.
Because I think it is an early '26 expiration
Okay.
date.
Got it. Thank you. So, back to the education and training. It's not that we're taking the money away, but I think, again, to focus on what we really think is essential, I would propose we keep it at 4,500, and if they need to go over, they've got the money, and they can do that, and, you know, get approval or do whatever they need to do.
I'll support that.
So since we're making a change to this thing, or a possible change, we have to do a vote on it, or?
No,
I thought
it will
this was
just be,
just a-
we don't vote on it till next week.
Reflected when we.
Yeah.
say
This is,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Next week's the public
Yeah.
hearing, so we can't do
We're
anything
just
till
noting
then.
your changes and then
Yeah,
we'll,
we're just gonna know.
Yeah.
I'll let Al know.
okay.
good. Are we done with wastewater?
Okay.
Yep, next.
All right, water fund is kind of the same story. We have a 5% increase in water sales for forecasting purposes. The new rate structure was approved at the end of May, so we'll monitor how those rates are affecting revenue and provide you with an adjustment afterwards. We have just routine maintenance allocated, and then we have some more capital projects in the water fund. 80 grand for a computer system upgrade in the iron removal plant, 225,000 for water tower improvements, 65,000 for a new well house, $100,000 for new water meters, and $77,000 for the work on the water lines as part of the street project.
The well house, is that another new one? Didn't we just do a new well house with the new well?
No, you guys voted it down, so he's still waiting for an approval to construct it. It was voted down.
Do not remember that.
Are you talking about the one on First Street?
No, that's the iron rust removal plant. The well house that's, I believe, located in Washington Township,
Yeah.
between 31 and 30.
That's the old well.
Well, it was replaced. The old well's there, but the new one's there too. Isn't that where they put the new one that we
I
need a well
believe
house
that
for?
All the wells that are that go through the iron removal that we use in the village are at the end of First Street.
Okay, well, we
And
still
then
have
the
a
one
new
down
well with
there
no
Across
house.
from McDonald's is a backup.
Yeah.
Okay, all
Hog
right,
Road.
so it's not that one, but no, the vote was to deny getting a new well house. So we're gonna try again.
When was that vote taken?
22, I thought, no, I'll have to double check the minutes.
And
Yes, please.
how,
That is why it's back on the wish list.
okay. How many people work in the iron removal plant?
Well, there's, how many DPW employees?
Yeah.
6, but about 3 of them are typically up there.
I think so, yeah, because that's another one where DPW splits their hours on their timesheet. So whenever they work on the well house, they record it on their timesheet, so it's not like one dedicated person.
Correct.
So 3.
They can all go up there during the week if need
Yeah.
be.
You're
Okay.
talking about DPW, so it could be 5.
Yep,
5 people with 100 hours a year, let's say, you know,
Yep.
it could be, it just depends on the work that's needed.
We have 2 active wells right now in the village, the one on First, at the end of First, and how about this one on Amanda Moore School? Oh, that's just the,
That's for
that's for Detroit?
Detroit, yeah.
Right.
I think both our active wells are up by First Street,
Right at the,
that's my understanding.
The one by Amanda Moore is not a well, is it?
That's the
It's
transfer
actually
station.
just.
That's a transfer station.
For
Yeah.
Detroit water. For Great Lakes, yeah. And then the backup is
matter of
out
fact,
Washington.
wasn't the township, Washington Township wanting to put a transfer station at the bypass? They wanted to use the,
down by Powell and 31-ish.
yeah,
Yeah, that's,
I don't know if they ever
Different.
finished it.
I'm trying to remember that First Street well.
So the uniform and cleaning is essentially the DPW guys, that part of it gets billed into,
Yes.
okay.
Yep.
And then if their phone bill came in at 4,200, but we're projecting 4,800? Is that just because we're expecting rates to go up? Or?
We had some credits that hit that account.
Right, so when all the systems were finally getting closed down, credits were showing up, and that's probably, yeah, why it's lower this year than next year.
Because we had some credits come through from the previous year.
Okay, so 4,800 will be the
Yeah.
stabilized,
Had
okay.
A lot of credits come through, that was crazy. Every time I turn around, what the-
So then the education and training, is that for DPW guys in regards to the iron removal plant?
To all their water licenses, yes.
but it's,
But then do they have it in the DPW side as well?
Well, there's different licenses, I
Yeah.
believe, so
A
like
lot of
for,
different licenses.
I'd have to look them up. They're all in the union contract. There's different licenses for different operations, basically. So these ones would be pertaining to water.
Most of them, there's a lot
Yeah.
of water ones that they can
Yeah.
obtain, but
Okay.
yes.
So the trainings are basically overlapping each other. I mean, they're gonna use what, off the, the water fund, or the wastewater, in order to adapt itself to the water system. Okay, that's why it's such a low amount. Just to give you the line item for billing, right?
Sorry?
Just to give you the line item for billing.
Yeah. And so we try to keep the expenses in the right fund, so the rates are calculated correctly.
Board, are we good? Art? Pat?
Guess so.
You're on, next show.
All right, motor pool fund. We have capital outlay in this fund, 25,000 to purchase a tractor. Total budget for repair and maintenance is 45,000. 15 of that is for painting the backhoe. So this fund is mainly, the revenue is driven by, we use a piece of equipment, we worked on, let's say, Village Hall, so then we would bill that time to Village Hall, and it would, as a cost to them, it would come back into the motor pool fund as a revenue. And the point of the fund is to accumulate money in order to purchase vehicles out of it for DPW. Oh, it's the same tractor? No, I think they want a new tractor for 25.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah,
Got my tractors mixed up.
yep.
So then their operating supplies, requested is 3,120, and then next year it goes down to $40.
It's probably based on trends that they put operating supplies in there, but if you look at, I don't have it in front of me, but if you look at previous, what does it look like?
Yep,
Yeah.
it is, it's like 30, then
Yeah.
2,700, and,
Yeah.
okay, I
Yeah,
just.
so we lowered it
Wanna
for the
make sure.
recommended because,
All right, and then gas and oil, they're projecting like a $15,000 increase? Is that just because gas prices, probably?
yeah, it's literally driven by gas prices.
Okay,
Yeah. And as you know, we can't really
Alright.
predict those very well, so it's better to budget an increase.
yeah. And then they're only gonna spend $600 on a telephone all year?
I'm sorry?
$600 on telephone?
Again, those were the major credits that came through, just like you saw, it was across the village.
So 600 will be
The-
their regular
their
phone
new
bill?
bill.
So why
Yes.
are some so high and some so low? Is it the number of lines? or-
Yes.
Number of lines.
Yeah, Catherine went
Okay.
through and found all the lines that were still open and closed them all. So that's why we got
Yeah,
these giant
Yeah,
credits.
because they were
Yeah, so that line is gonna look really
310,000
weird
last
this
year.
year.
Yeah. Well, and some buildings have multiple lines because security systems and the alarm systems have their own designated lines.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's a VoIP, so.
Okay, that's what I was hoping. Thank you.
Yeah, so there's no getting around getting those, having those lines look the way they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we have to reflect the credits.
Yeah. But 600 will be the norm?
Yes, that's understood to be the
That's- yeah.
norm.
That's what I'm-
So you said it was 15,000 to paint the backhoe?
That's what they requested.
And
So-
the purchase was, 30 was for what again?
The tractor, I believe?
25,000
Yeah,
is
25,000.
budgeted for the tractor, because they said they're, according to the meeting I had with Tim, the current tractor was from 1969, so they would like a new one. And the $15,000 to paint the backhoe actually came out to be about $12,000, so the $3,000 was used for another capital outlay project.
So that was already done,
That was already done, yeah.
but we're budgeting it
For next year?
It shouldn't,
Okay.
because they used the, no, because, I'm sorry, I'm getting my projects mixed up. Sorry, I was thinking of the camera. It's the camera in the other project shared. Never mind what I just said about the backhoe. It's
Okay.
the camera came in lower. The sewer camera.
I remember that.
So
All the
yes,
numbers
I'm sorry,
blend
yep,
together.
getting my projects over confused. Repaint the backhoe is projected for next year.
Now, let's
Okay,
just
so
say,
No,
the
if it
trac-
was, we
the
take it
tractor
out.
is 30, not 25.
Okay.
Is that correct?
I think, is there another $5,000 item in there?
There's 30 and 15.
I have
Yeah.
25, but I don't know if people.
There might
should
be
any-
another
The
$5,000 item in
capital
there.
outlay
Are you doing
25.
repairs and maintenance, or even capital outlay?
Capital outlay.
Capital outlay, the tractor is 25,000.
Yes, but if you're in repairs and maintenance,
Right, so.
the
they-
30,
There's 30 that they would expect for normal things throughout the year. That's normally what they would budget.
okay.
And then they're asking for an additional 15,000 for the backhoe. So I just broke out the two amounts just so that you can see what they were. So like if you look last year, we spent 25,000 in repairs and maintenance, so.
Last year?
Budgeting 30.
23, 24 is showing 53, right?
Mhm.
23, 24, oh, it's 30.
Okay, yes, there's a projected,
Actual is 32.
yes. yes.
Actual is 32, okay.
Yeah, so we're predicting, you know, we're budgeting for 30 for next year for the regular activities, and then the additional 15 for the backhoe.
And that's not the tractor they're replacing? Is it?
It sounds like it. The
Is
original
he-
one's from 1960s.
So then, but then that's what I'm saying, so we're gonna pay 15,000 to paint an old one?
No, the backhoe.
backhoe.
The backhoe, paint the backhoe, two different assets. We're purchasing a
That's
new
what I meant, yeah,
tractor.
So that they're not replacing the backhoe.
No,
No.
no, they're gonna paint it.
That's another 85 grand.
Yeah.
And you said it's cheap, but. Okay.
Next, we're replacing the tractor from 1969 that is at the yard.
That's a classic.
According
We
to,
oughta
oh, I know.
put some money for that
Purchased
baby.
Ford 2000 mower tractor, 1969.
Wood-
What will they
Woodstock.
do with it, the old one?
I don't know,
You
probably
drive
take
it.
it to auction like they did a few of the other vehicles last week.
Somebody's gotta want that.
Still works.
It was Woodstock.
Date yourself, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bart, that'd be something cool, huh? Thinking the same thing. Good?
You're right, 64.
I guess we're good. We're on to retirement fund.
Okay.
Are you good, Justin? Good? Okay. Yes.
So retirement fund, this is just a net zero fund. So we pay the retiree healthcare out of each of the funds. So each of the funds contribute money based on however many retirees they have into this fund, and then we turn around and pay the retiree healthcare bills out of it. So it's always a net zero. We expect a 6.5% increase in insurance rates effective July 1st or January 1st, 2025.
Is there any cost to the employee for any of their insurance?
I don't believe so. I don't believe retirees pay for anything for their health care.
How many employees are retired that we're paying for?
I think is there like 40? Trying to remember the list, because a couple of them have retired in the last, since we've been here.
Yeah.
Oh, mostly employees, a couple of electeds.
Yeah. We'll get the
What was that,
list.
Catherine?
One second.
Well, it's employees and a few elected officials are on the pension and the health insurance.
Yeah. Julie's gonna get you the exact number. We'll see how close I
Oh,
was.
I just wondered, it wasn't super important.
Yeah.
You good?
I think so.
G.
About 21.
There you go. I was
21.
off. 21.
There we go.
Okay. This was requested to be added onto the agenda, discussing the DDA's budget. So similar to the village's budget, we expect a 5% increase in taxable value, so that will affect the type of money that comes into the DDA as well as the millage. Employee expenses are expected to increase. They're working on hiring an executive director, so that's the change that you see there between the actual and the budget. They haven't had a director the entire year. Downtown decorations are expected to increase due to additional investment in decor, lighting, and banners, and they obviously plan on buying them to use them for multiple years in the future. So they're investing now.
So what's the difference between preliminary budget and recommended budget?
So the preliminary was the one that we presented.
Oh, yeah.
back in April
Okay, I'm sorry.
That we put together for you, and then the recommend.
Yeah.
Or if you're talking about the change department requested or recommended.
No, I think she's looking at the DDA budget. But I think that's correct. The preliminary budget I believe came from the DDA to us. We evaluated it, gave feedback to them, and then they made any changes that we suggested. Or didn't make them if they didn't want to.
So the recommended is the one-
Recommended is what's being adopted by the DDA.
Okay.
I think the preliminary was on there for their eyes, because to want to see what changed from the original to the new.
Okay. So then for employee expenses, it went from 42,000 to 64,000?
That's the executive director, I believe. They increased the salary to try to attract somebody.
Okay. Downtown decorations went from 63,000 to 130?
That's what was on,
To make some investments.
yeah. They're buying decor, lighting, and banners to buy, to use for the next however many years.
Yeah, I was
To
at
replace
the
the ones that they
meeting when
have.
they talked about that. I thought it was closer to the 65 to 70 range. I don't
I think it
recall.
was just the winter holiday. They were projecting somewhere around 80
Okay, just
for
the
the
winter.
winter decorations, which,
Because this is like,
That's crazy.
this is Christmas, Halloween, whatever other decorations they put out during the year. It's not just Christmas.
And then, on the next page, under recommended budget, there's a lot of zeros with the DDA to estimate. So do we really not have those totals yet, or do they really want it to be zero? The notes keep saying DDA to estimate, leave it zero.
Let me see what you have.
Hold on, let me see if I
Yeah.
Winterfest decoration, Vintage Fest decoration, it's all the decorations.
No.
Downtown beautification.
But even like vendor fees, busker fees, like even their fees are at zero.
That's probably the original budget. That probably shouldn't have been printed. This is all on an Excel sheet. It's probably, here's all the things we need you to fill out. And then they
Okay.
did, and then we did the preliminary budget, and then we did the recommended budget.
Okay. so
I'm
we
trying
can
to see
cross
what you
that out.
have here. Yeah. Yeah, this is from February of 2024. This probably shouldn't have been printed.
Okay, so we're looking at just the one,
Yeah.
okay.
As you know, they've had some turnover there, so we were helping them understand how they should be budgeting their costs. So we provided them with that.
So they're not anticipating any other revenue or donations?
Not at this time, no. They don't have an executive director at this time, so until that person's hired, it's hard to know how much they could go out for donations and sponsorships.
Yeah.
And it is a revenue item. It's okay to be over on revenue. It's not
Yeah.
okay to be over on expense. So if they end up having donations that come in, we can amend the budget to increase the revenue in that line item. But I think they wanted to just show what they know they were gonna get, so they could properly budget for that position and know the effect on fund balance, because that is donations, I mean, that's such a variable number. You could get,
Right,
you could have one really nice person give you 50 grand, and then next year you get nothing, so.
right. And I mean, obviously, it looks like they've gotten at least close to 6,000 a couple of times. I think if you leave zero, I don't like leaving zero. We know they're gonna get something. I mean, even just the Vintage Fest that occurred, they got quite a bit. So they don't have to be accurate, but to leave it zero, I don't think sets a good precedent of, should be something to attain to, some kind of goal or guess.
We can certainly bring that up to the DDA board.
Pardon me?
We can bring that up to the DDA board.
Yeah, they need to have a goal. Because if you just put zero and then go, oh, well, whatever comes in, you know what I mean? You gotta kind of try and have a plan of some sort.
Is that it?
on here, does it show where if the DDA utilizes DPW and or like PD or something like that for events or hanging banners or doing stuff, do they pay out to the village for those expenses?
I think so, as long as we invoice them, right? They
Yes.
can't pay unless we invoice them, but I believe there are invoices in there, yes.
And what category would that fall under?
That would
here?
probably, I would think it would probably fall under CBD events.
our
So when they put up
DPW
banners for events, that's where it would go, to
So our
pay for the event.
DPW has a specific line item they can charge for the funds that come out of the DEA account.
Yes. Well, they're two separate entities, so the village will prepare an invoice, send it to the DDA, and the DDA will pay it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
there's no like intermingling. It's like one business to another, basically.
Do you create that invoice, Catherine?
I believe Chris does.
Yes,
The
Chris
DPW
would do from
secretary.
DPW. She
Yeah.
has the ability.
Because she keeps track of the hours.
Oh, yes.
So the banner install and maintenance for 3,000 they've
Mm-hmm.
got, that would be to pay DPW.
Yeah, most likely, unless they paid an outside contractor, but they don't usually, they usually pay the DPW.
And what about like PD when they,
I'm
Or
not
an
aware that
event
PD
holiday.
has ever charged the DDA. I don't think I've seen that invoice come through ever. The
I
PD
don't
hasn't
recall.
provided us at least, because we would be the ones to invoice that, but we need the data from them if they want to invoice it. I think it's just been done as a courtesy.
yeah, so when we got a officer in a vehicle sitting in town
Couple officers,
for a whole event and not patrolling town and maintaining the rest of the village, it shouldn't be an expense that the rest of the
Taxpayers.
taxpayers should cover. So,
We can certainly ask the police chief to keep track of that,
That'd be-
and then we can invoice it based on the hours he tells us.
Okay.
Or create a specific billing. for it.
That would probably still go under CBD events, because that's to help pay for the event, the cost of the event, so it'd go under the same
yeah,
line.
because probably they would fall
Yeah.
under overtime
Yeah.
for the police, which, that's,
And then they're able to bill the
Yeah.
PD, okay. Good
So
catch, good call.
the CBD events, looks like they have decreased the budget by $6,000 from last year. But listening to them talk about the new decor that they want to order, it's about twice as much. And they were talking about getting with DPW to have them put it in. So I'm wondering then if they're undershooting what it's going to cost them for the CBD events, if they're ordering twice as much decor to have.
Is it twice as much decor, or is it replacing the old decor?
Well, they are replacing some, but they're ordering twice as much as what they have
Used to
usually
have. Okay.
purchased.
so I think they pulled it out of event zone, the decor wasn't attached to the event. Like on here, it's talking about winter holiday greens and install
Yeah,
for $70,000. That was the number that you were talking about, 70, then the lighting and install. They've separated that out
Okay.
of events and put it as its own line item for the decor in the 880.1, or 100, whatever.
Downtown decorations.
Yeah. They
So-
pulled that out. Looks like some of that I thought they were discussing, I think a company was installing it, some they were gonna ask DPW to do, I believe.
Yep. Okay.
Do you know, and skimming through, when I went through this, I didn't see, do they have any project plans to do any like infrastructure improvements, or is it just all events and
it's all
decorations?
events. Yeah, I don't believe there's any infrastructure included in that, which is in, I believe that's in the master plan for the TIFA, is some infrastructure.
Yeah.
I think the problem is that they don't have an executive director for someone to do the day-to-day to bid it out, plan it, et cetera. So hopefully, when this new person comes in, they can start looking at that, see what they can do with that money.
So should there be a line item here that talks about infrastructure, or like, they were talking about wayfinding and signs and all that, like,
We could ask them, but like, it's kind of like the cemetery question. We don't know what they plan on doing or how much it's gonna cost, so do you really want to put that in the budget now?
Is it-
It's kind of the same situation.
Cause their funds are set, it's not,
Yeah,
we lower or raise a millage.
No, it is what it is.
Maintains the same regardless. So if the money's there growing in the fund balance, it's there to use.
yeah. Right now, they have 260,000, it looks like, by the end of 2025.
So I agree, initially I thought that when this new, or DDA came about, they were gonna, I think, focus away from events and look at more, you know, the infrastructure and the core of downtown, and I just, because we haven't seen it yet, because we haven't had a director that will manage that, so. We'll see.
makes sense.
I'd like to see some improvements.
Matt, you were gonna say something?
No, I will, it got answered. But as far as that, I think events bring people in to the downtown area. That's important. I mean, I don't know what kind of infrastructure they're talking about, or your guys are talking about.
I mean, just the.
Like
the
signs on where
sidewalks,
cars-
the
Sidewalks, yeah.
signage,
Signage, yeah, light
Parking, I
poles.
mean, there's a lot of things that
Yeah.
they can, that's been a complaint for years. I mean, the brick paver sidewalks are heaving and the trees are way too big. You
The
know,
road closure signs, we charge for those?
Oh, and
I mean,
DPW.
Yeah.
Let's put our finger in everything, we can,
We'd have to ask Chris that. I would
Because,
think so. I
we
mean,
gotta
that's
get
part of
new
setting
ones
up for
if
the
we're not
event,
in.
just like putting up fencing, right? So I'd assume that that goes into
I
it.
think DPW lays them out the
Yeah.
day before while they're on shift, but
Yeah.
then they're using time to do that.
Yeah.
And then I think PD and volunteers set them up,
so are we charging for those times that we,
yeah.
My understanding is yes.
Yes.
Whenever they work on an event, that's where they will charge their
I
time
think the
to.
police do set those.
Plus our
up.
equipment,
That's what
too.
I've seen.
Police and
Yes, they'll get a
Yeah.
rental fee as well.
because when we gotta replace it, we're stuck holding the tab.
Especially when PD's saying he's got a laundry list of stuff that he needs
Oh, yeah,
purchased.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay,
yeah,
are we good?
yeah, if you could ask him on those things, I guess that'd be great.
On the infrastructure?
Yeah, if they had discussed or plans or anything.
Okay, we can ask.
I haven't asked them, so I don't know.
Yeah, I added H, review of the total budget, and that's this proposed budget sheet. Just curious on the village clerk spot,
Yep.
the salary for the part-time, should that be a separate line item? I mean, you have it attached to the clerk itself, but is that like for the Cindy position?
It's for the Cindy
Yeah.
position.
So shouldn't that be separate from you? Because it's actually built into the clerk.
Well, I believe that person falls under the clerk,
Clerk's department.
the clerk's department.
Well, shouldn't that be separate though, a separate line item? Because it's in her total salary, the way that you have it written here.
No, it's on a separate line for part-time?
It's on a separate line for part-time, but the total amount at the bottom.
That's the total for the whole.
Whole
Whole
department.
Whole
department.
department.
Yeah,
So
so
that's
the,
for
the clerk
everything.
is the person sitting next to you, the elected official
Correct.
is a separate line item. It's titled elected official. And then the part-time would not be,
So the total
Yeah.
amount for that department then would be the 80,151, which goes up to 89,87.
recommended for
Okay.
this year with the 74, 75 increase. And that is the Cindy replacement, that's the portion coming out of the clerk's department? 'Cause then
Yes. Part of
it's
it is
kinda
in
been out of
building.
The building department.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Because Cindy isn't solely working in only on building-related things. She also works in the office, doing planning and zoning and all.
I
bunch of
feel like
other stuff.
Cindy's everywhere.
She is. So that's why the
She
best
is.
place to put her is in the clerk's, that person
I
is in
think
the
I
clerk's
called
department.
wastewater and
because-
she was doing testing over there for something. I have no idea.
So her time sheet basically has all the departments in it too.
Yes.
It does.
All right.
And then office supplies for $110, what office supplies is specific to the clerk?
It would be anything, paper clips. I mean,
So you divide it out among departments?
yes, yes.
Okay.
On your training, could you include some accounting courses in there? Or do you already take some accounting courses?
I went to, I can
Yes, it just-
continue that.
Yes.
I've been taking some just basic overviews, but there's an association I belong to that can go, some of their workshops go a little bit deeper.
More than we bring you up to par, we can get rid of these guys.
Oh, okay. Wow, okay, but
I love you.
I will check out their curriculum, the MGFOA.
Yes. 180, 160, 180, oh, heck yeah. We love you. Put that part in there too.
Is that, what do we play Plant Moran total? Like, what are we gonna pay or projected to finish this year at?
Let me see,
160.
let me get to it.
That's obviously as a whole, and
Yeah,
I think the
Yeah.
DDA contracts you guys also now?
yeah, they've contracted us for a couple of years now, but that comes out of the DDA
Yeah.
budget, not the village budget.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm trying to get to the amendment. I do know that you guys have used us more this year than in previous years, just because of things that have come up outside of our normal duties. I do know that.
You guys done a good job.
So as things hopefully calm down, our fees will go down as well. Because when, we've done good work for the village in terms of financial analysis for all these projects that we've had come up, like the street project, the Bruce Township contract, the Mitt contract. A lot of things have come up this year. So well, as long as things don't, these new financial analysis that are needed done go down, then our fees will go down, because we're paid hourly. So,
Always something, though.
yeah, we're paid hourly, so,
We like it.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to open up the amendment. It's not opening for me. Maybe if I do the PDF. Yeah, yeah, we do prepare you for audit as well.
So the professional accounting and audit is part of it?
Yes. Yeah,
All
in
of it
that
or
line
part?
item is us and the auditor.
So the 181 this year?
Yeah,
is
that's
part
us
of it?
plus the audit fee
Okay.
from Gaybridge and Company.
And then there's other amounts there also?
I don't think so. I think in that line item, it's just us and Gaybridge.
There might be some fees in there for MERS.
Oh, for MERS,
for
okay.
treasurer reports and
Yeah.
things like that.
Where do you see the 181?
Under professional, under village hall and grounds?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't, but you bill other departments then also, right?
No, all of our bills go into that line,
The-
Only.
okay, The 181?
yes.
fif-
And then we
five.
take that and divide it out through that admin allocation charge.
Okay,
So the revenue up top in general fund, there's a revenue up there to help cover us, Caroline, and Rebecca.
so you were saying 160 you saw, so 160 is probably pretty.
It sounds about close, yeah, to
pretty
what we
close.
have for this year, yes.
160 a year, this year.
Mm-hmm.
And what was it last year, do you know?
Can you look that up? I'll get that answer for you in a second. Yeah. I do know that it is more this year, because we've done more work for the village.
Thank you.
Mhm.
You cool, Bart? You cool?
No, he's waiting on the answer. Julie's looking
Oh,
up.
No,
she's
yeah.
looking it up.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
No.
No
But
pressure.
under that same thing, I missed what Zach said about education and training. But,
He asked if the clerk would take accounting classes so that we could get rid of Plymouth.
That means it'd be some
Which just
fun.
brought up, I just wondered then, well, how much do we pay them?
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
a fair
I don't know.
question.
Country western songs. Let me miss you. How can I miss you if you don't go away?
It's different. Classes and a degree,
It's country western songs.
professional degree.
Well, I would wait for that. The budget adjustments that we have, was there any that didn't look correct to you? We were recording all the adjustments that we talked about the last like 3 meetings, so we've accumulated them on
Yep.
this sheet,
yeah,
just to show you, make sure we got all of the changes that you requested.
okay. And then I'll go back to the education and training again, like I did every other department. I mean, you just asked our clerk to become an accountant, but
Not to become one. Yeah,
to learn, yeah.
Yeah.
So, under education and training, is that training, or are those like conferences, seminars?
Yeah, conferences, seminars, because between the Clerks Association and the Michigan Government Financial Officers Association. And also in the, this current year budget, I used some of my budget to pay for some of President Poznansky's conferences because she was afraid she was going to run over budget on village council education and training. So we kind of shared my budget this year. But in order to answer to your, that's probably why it looks like it's almost depleted. But to answer your question, yeah, education and training.
Yeah. Again, it's just a lot. Not to say that education and training is a bad thing. I'm all for it, but it's a lot, especially when we have people in place, like, this is year 5 or 6 for you, so I would think that you should be pretty seasoned in that. Same with our treasurer.
I have to disagree with that. I mean,
Well-
laws change.
Oh,
You know,
gosh,
things
yes.
happen all the time, and you've got to be kept abreast of them. You can't just sit back on your laurels and say, well, I've been, clerk for 6 years, so.
I am
I'm
not
done."
suggesting that, and I wish you'd stop saying I'm suggesting do nothing. I'm not saying do nothing. So
Okay,
please
I'm not
stop
sure why you
suggesting it.
keep attacking
I'm not
education
attacking,
and
I'm
training.
asking. Because I have an eye for detail and I care about the budget.
Okay,
Okay, let's continue the conversation.
If
If you
Pro
would,
Tem
please.
Fowler, if I can just
Yes.
add. Also, though, but to the education, both me and the treasurer, we were a part of a 3-year curriculum, that once you completed this conference, after 3 years, you don't go back. So that one I am done with. That one I don't have to go back to.
Okay.
Treasurer Miller has 1 more year of the 3-year, and then she's done with that conference. And then the rest is just the basic continuing education updates on changing legislation, because the legislation for clerks is bonkers.
Okay.
And seminars, 1-dayers, just, drive somewhere and come home the same day. Those are all
Okay.
in, at least in my line item.
All right.
So
Thank you.
I'm done with that. It's called Institute. The treasurer still has 1 year of Institute.
Institute. Okay, thank you.
See, my line of questioning was basically, I'm glad you said the less we use you, the cheaper you are. So that's-
Yeah, we're
that's-
hourly.
Yes, so that's
So-
what my line of questioning
Yeah,
was.
it's not a
Please take
retainer.
some courses, and online courses. Love having you around, but it's expensive. But you're good.
Thank you.
I'm okay with taking more.
And off that last meeting too, I do appreciate when you went back to 2018 and cleaned up that mess, brought it forward. Didn't get a chance to say anything to you then, but good job.
Thank you.
We done? Mr. Parker, Mr. Edwards?
Did we get a
Bartholomew?
response? I was still waiting for.
No,
Oh.
she's adding him up.
We got charged a different, when we do the allocation. we got charged a different.
Well, you can stick around for your response.
So I guess, was there any additional changes other than, or ones that maybe we missed? I
No.
believe we got them all.
It's not a change, but it's a question. Under street lighting, we're anticipating our expenses going down by $9,000.
Let's take a look.
Issue the signs made it in there, under beautification, cleaning up the village signs.
Yeah.
That was nice, 5,200,
Yep,
nice start.
I saw that.
Let me get to it.
Are we good? Or are you still waiting for the response?
She's looking it up.
Just waiting for
Huh?
an answer.
She's
Now
looking it
now
up.
we're both looking up stuff. Huh?
96.5.
Okay,
Oh,
96,500.
96.5.
Okay. Get up the street lighting. What's the department on that? Can you tell me? The middle number? 101?
448921.
Thank you. Okay. 107. Okay, we'll look into why we have that going down. I'm wondering if did we buy new light poles? Because anything like capital would go in there, because they're not ours.
Okay, all right. That
And
makes sense.
That's the only thing I can think of as to why it would have gone down. Yeah, that's the only reason why I could think of it, why it would go down, and we have just the electrical charges in there. But
Didn't
can
we
look
do
into that.
something with more efficient light bulbs too in there?
They've been switching
The
them out to
LED?
LED
Yeah,
as
that's-
they go bad.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Makes a big difference.
I think that makes a big difference.
So then where would sidewalk funds be in here that we can?
They're under Fund 204. Let me go ahead and open that up.
Sidewalks, Department 495, right?
Yes, that
And it
sounds
talks
correct.
about, there's a footnote for sidewalks.
Yep,
Sidewalk
For
work
10.
related to street improvement.
But
And
then
then
you go to the next one,
residents.
sidewalk, residents, 10,000.
Okay. So it'll just stay in capital outlay.
yep.
Okay.
10. And if we wanted to use some of that other funds to continue the the sidewalk project.
From public improvement, yeah,
Yeah.
we could do a transfer over.
I have a quick question.
Yeah,
The two new police SUVs, is that out of 101 or motor pool?
no, that would be out of 101. Motor pool is only for DPW.
Gotcha.
And then cemetery lot sales, shouldn't that be like a lot higher than 4,200 if we've got? How many?
49,
Let me see.
49, correct? But then we're assuming they'll all sell this year.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, we're assuming
have
that it all
to.
sells before June 30th, that we get everybody's money before June 30th.
Of this coming year.
Okay.
2024.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fiscal year, next fiscal year.
So,
Okay.
And we did decide to leave the placeholder in there for the rubbish corrals?
yeah, that's in the 226 fund?
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah,
530, 226, yeah. I didn't, I thought we decided not to leave that, but.
That's what I thought.
okay, you want that taken out?
Because if there was no plan, no actual, if the money's there, we can move it and use it. I don't know if we want to leave it ear noted for a rubbish
Yeah.
corral if we've got
Yeah,
nowhere to put it.
Talking about maybe making an ordinance to make them put it there, because I think the conversation was some were gonna use it and some wasn't. And why spend the money if, they weren't
Yeah,
gonna
if you
use
can't
it?
enforce it, then we're just, so leave the money in there, but not necessarily assign it until we
Okay.
have a real plan.
Okay, you want us
But
to
it-
take out?
I mean, if it's left there, ear noted, footnoted, whatever for that, we can always move it.
Yeah,
we
you can
don't
just
have
not
to.
spend it. It's just there. We're just trying to figure out a way to knock down this fund balance, and that was one idea that President Poznanski had.
Yeah.
And so the 100,000 was just a placeholder, so we don't kind of forget.
Okay.
You know, maybe ask the engineer, how much would it cost, so then we could come to you with a plan. The only other way to knock down the fund balance is to decrease the levy, which we've done. We'll decrease it little by little every year until we get to a point where we're break even.
I think to help with the beautification of downtown on our main streets like 32 and Van Dyke, we should have the rubbish people go in the back of the yards, back out to pick up the trash, we don't have to leave them on the main street. So it doesn't look bad.
About the
That'd be a
residents?
great thing to do for
If we
the
quit giving
main
away,
streets, just the main streets.
we
talking
could
about
give away
residents?
alleys, we could do that.
Joking. Giveaway alleys, there you go.
Truck going up and down.
Just have them go in my backyard, it's perfect.
Cut the grass while you're
Yeah, I
back
don't see
there, right?
anything else.
Me either.
So leave the 100,000 in rubbish or take it out?
I would leave it there, because
Okay.
personally, again, maybe I'll get some feedback from that, but if you put it somewhere else, you forget that it's there. And you forget what you're doing. I would just leave it earmarked for the.
Okay, we'll do that.
Personally.
Yep, yeah, like if you don't spend it, you don't spend it.
So based on the project, I see where we're at with the franchise fees again, the true up is ear noted in there, or footnote, I keep saying ear note, footnote, whatever you wanna call it,
It's okay.
so I can hear it, I don't feel it. Yep, that was it.
Okay,
Do you have anything else?
I don't.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll
Well-
second.
just so.
Unless you have
Oh,
anything.
yeah.
Yeah, so just the changes from today, or just it sounds like, are we changing education and training? Because we're gonna prep the resolution today, or tomorrow morning, to get to Catherine to put on next week's agenda. So we wanna make sure we have everything in there for you to vote on it. I know we were kind of back and
I mean,
forth, so,
It sounds like you're more concerned about the type of training that's happening, and not so much the training is happening. So I don't know if
Yeah,
it's, if it's a more, an approval process, or is that what we're discussing?
A little. It's a lot of money to have for training if you don't see what's coming out of it, or you don't know. Like, you know, if something's changing, like the iron plant, and they have to have a whole new procedure, that's great. But if they look at it and go, we got $4,000 for training, let's go here, let's do that, are we really getting value for it? So partly is we need to look at the budget. We've got an extreme amount of expenses coming up, and so looking at all those details, and is there value in it, and making sure there is. So it's a little both.
I can respect what you're saying, so.
while it might seem like a minimal amount, $1,000 or $1,500, if you look at that across the board of everything.
Right.
All the little amounts that we can shave and save
Right.
becomes a big amount.
Exactly, like even the uniforms, when do we bid
Yeah.
that out again? And the telephones, which was huge. I mean, that in and of itself, and I questioned every one of those last year. Oh my God, how much for the telephone,
Yeah.
you know?
That was good.
So it's just making sure we're doing the best that we can, and training seems to be an easy one that we spend a lot of money on, but, you know, making sure that we're getting the value for it.
So I guess if it stays in a budget line and then the council looks at maybe adopting a policy per se that, for approval of trainings?
Or even, yeah, or feedback from the
Or
training.
feedback or something? that-
Yeah.
We did create a policy for travel and conferences and continuing education.
I think for the expense and
For the
the
expense.
cost and if and when we pay for a hotel and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But I don't think, like, to trustee Russo's point was, we don't know what's happening, I guess. And I can see, I can respect where you're coming with that. Is it a necessary training or is it?
And sometimes you do have to blow off steam, but when you've got, you know, $40,000 a year in training out there, how do you answer to, is there value in it? That's all.
Okay.
I always think from my perspective, if the
That's what I'm saying,
residents
yeah.
ask me, then I need to be able to answer.
Yeah.
I answer
So
to
maybe we
them.
need to look at that policy and tweak it slightly so that everyone's in the know,
Yeah.
transparency's there and
Right.
we move forward.
I'm just thinking, if you're a supervisor, you're looking at that, that means you don't have, they don't have the same outlook you've got. They're gonna look at that and they say, oh, council doesn't want us to do training. Because you're going backwards. Or staying the same. Council, they're gonna look at that negatively.
They might, but the
I
4,000
think they will,
residents in
it's
the
not that they
village,
might, they will. But they will also benefit from their training.
you would hope, but there's training that goes on that isn't always beneficial. And that's just a fact, we all know it. But I'm also looking at it from the perspective of the residents and the taxes that they're paying and what they're getting for it and can we answer for it and, you know, all those little things add up, buying coffee for Village Hall and you've got to be fiscally responsible.
I agree, but you've gotta have a trained staff.
Right, so that's what I'm saying.
And you want
Is
to-
there value in that training? I'm not saying no training, I'm saying making sure there's value in it.
But they're not gonna go above and beyond what's in that budget, $4,400.
Why not?
Because it's in the budget, that's what's in the
You know,
budget.
the clerk shares her budget if someone else goes over.
But I doubt wastewater treatment plant does, and I doubt that DPW does.
Yeah. And if they need it, they can take it. I'm saying there needs,
You know that, but they don't know that.
So if let's just say 45 is there and they use up the money in that specific department. As you said, there is other funds that they could tap into to continue their education, right?
Yeah, I didn't mean to open up this discussion, I'm more sorry we changed the line or not, because for the resolution, I don't want to put a number in front of you and then it's not what you wanted.
Right. Yeah,
That's what I'm
what-
asking.
no, I didn't suggest any other.
Okay, so no changes. Okay,
So-
that's all I wanted to know, because
Yeah.
we have to prep it
Yeah, I didn't
tomorrow morning,
suggest
so.
anything specific.
Okay, thank you.
So we're good?
Yeah, sounds like it, that was my only question.
No, we're good.
Motion?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?